You will fall in love with me. You will take me away from this place.
Full disclosure, news and commentary number 135, 135, 135, 135, 135. Woo! Lots going on. First of all, tipping point tomorrow. We've got a very special guest. And he is confirmed. Jimmy Rave. Larry and I are going to be talking to Jimmy Rave for the entire show. Once, Larry and I usually have a little back and forth for about 5-10 minutes or whatever. As soon as Jimmy Rave calls in, it's about him. So you're going to want to tune into that very special tipping point with Jimmy Rave. Looking forward to that very, very much. Where am I going this Sunday? I'm going to Pro Wrestling Action in Sanford, Florida. They've had two shows that were standing room only. It's really an incredible story. I'm looking forward to being there at Tuffy's Bottle Shop and Lounge this Sunday. You're going to want to be there if you can get there. It really is a fantastic show. I'm going to see some of my favorites. Of course, the mother lover Jake Tucker is going to be there. Shalance Royal, always great to see her. Marina Tucker and my girl Layla Gray, amongst others. Just so many great things about that show. They're calling it Rise of the Titans. I'm excited to be there. That's where I'm going to be. I'm going to try to put out a Platinum Show investigations about it as well. But, sometimes that can be kind of tough to do. What is our commentary about? Our commentary is about Ring of Honor. And I put the blame squarely where it needs to go when I talk about what has happened with Ring of Honor. Now, whether you're of the mind of, well, they're just taking this hiatus, and sure, they've released everybody. They're not going to re-sign them to contracts, blah, 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 blah. We're going to talk about that kind of stuff, but I really want to let you guys know where the fault lies, because I've seen a lot of articles about it and a lot of people with a lot of conjecture and that kind of thing. I really want to put the blame where it should go, though. And that's going to be a good one. That's in the commentary. Pro South seemed like they finally got their stuff together a little bit more. So that is great to see. Nice to see Naja just having this career renaissance as well. It's really great. KLT drew 230. And then had their awards. Candy Cannoli winning for Manager of the Year, which is really great. And, of course, you knew Zach Mosley was going to win for Wrestler of the Year. My God, he was their champ for the whole freaking year practically. Big news coming out of that show is Skrilla beating Zach Mosley and some other dude in a ladder match. Pretty great stuff. Southern Underground Pro. Sounded like a really, really good show. We're not getting crowds from a lot of these shows. It is awesome that Hoodfoot is there. Very much looking forward to, not this weekend, but the weekend after when ICW is in Chattanooga. That's going to be an incredible thing. Oh, no, that's actually taking place the 19th and 20th. And how do I know about the 20th? Because I'm going to be at IWE. I'm going to talk about that show at length. In a future video of its own, but also in next week's Full Disclosure more. But tickets are on sale for that. I'm expecting them to actually go up in the crowd, which nobody else seems like they're really doing. Yeah. APW, attendance of 95, great to see. And they're doing their thing as well. Oh, I have an unboxing to do. My goodness, my goodness. Let's get to this. Got a shirt. Haven't got a new one for a while. That is exciting. I'm going to reveal it to you. Same time I reveal it to me. 1, 2, 3, bam. You know, I've gotten back into Dragon Ball Z, and I went to Super Saiyan, which is like a ramen place that's all Dragon Ball Z themed. So that's hysterical, man. When it rains, it pours. That shit's funny as hell. I'm gonna wear that to work tomorrow. I'm putting it right over there. Hope your Halloween was good. Mine certainly was. Videos with the kids, all kinds of great stuff. The wrestling news has been dominated a lot by Ring of Honor. And then the usual suspects, you know, Charlotte and Becky and what happened and blah, 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 blah. But a news item about wrestling that I thought was really caught my eye was about Lars Sullivan, the perpetual weirdo who is now no longer wrestling. Yeah, I put together a little thing about it. So here's that news item.
Hey, so this news story. So let me take a look here. Lars Sullivan outed for social media stalking. It says here in this story in Ringside News, Lars Sullivan is no longer with WWE, but he hasn't left Instagram. In fact, he is quite active on Instagram, especially when he fancies someone. Charlie's Twitter bio describes her as the cutest purple-haired ditzy little firecracker in professional wrestling. It appears that the firecracker piqued the freak's attention. While including a screenshot from Instagram, Charlie captioned her photo with, "Help." Many people might wonder what she needs help with, but closer examination certainly shows why she was concerned. Lars Sullivan went on a like binge on her profile. It appears that he liked a ton of her posts, enough to fill her entire notification screen. So within the same time span of a very short amount of time, he liked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically, he just liked so many photos of her that she basically had to do this call for help of like, oh my God. And Lars Sullivan has been accused many times of doing this to many people. And then also getting in their DMs and saying creepy, creepy stuff and all the rest of it. So, Lars Sullivan, I mean, this stuff is so sad. What is my comment about it? It's really quite simple. Simp, 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 simp. Lars Sullivan, you're a simp. If you like every picture on some random bitch's gram, trust me, she's not impressed. Simp. You once were a wrestler, but now just a jobber. You're stalking, you're spreading your internet slobber. You used to be someone, and now you're a creeper. The reputation you had meeting the Reaper, don't like and like and like. And please don't slip into her DM. You probably should take a hike and make some friends in your actual life instead of being a simp. You were a simp, you were a simp, you were a simp, 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 you creepy fuck.
So much fun and so much work putting that together, but it was so worth it. This weekend, we're going to have Southern Fried and Southern Honor, right? Two big shows. Let's talk about it. The last Southern Fried show got 150. Do I expect that to happen again? No, I expect them to go a little up. I would say, though, if they're not hitting that 175 mark, that they have a lot to worry about. What about Southern Honor? Now, at their last show, their third anniversary show, they did really, really well. This show doesn't feel like it was really promoted. I didn't hear anything about that show at the fair, except that they got rain on them, which that does suck. But I didn't see any pictures from that shit or anything. I don't know what the hell's going on with that. But I would suspect that for them, I think they're gunning for 350. And it's just me being generous. I think if they can hit that 350, they can feel really good about that. And then Larry is likely going to the Larietto / IWN show. Fuck, they need 200 minimum. I honestly, if they don't get 300, I would consider that a failure with Larietto and the Good Brothers and all the rest of that throwing their weight behind that show. If they don't get 300, I don't know what the fuck's going on with IWN. I don't want to people keep messaging me like IWN is so great and it's going to do fine. Like, the fuck? The fuck? The best thing I can say about that show from what I've heard is that they pay really well. And that's great, but my God, if they don't draw 300 on this show, I don't know what that means. Let's get to the commentary. I know you're saying that this is rather quick. Yeah, it is. It is. But the Ring of Honor thing to me is really important. I was going to write an article about this, but instead I've committed to do a different article, which I'm hoping to get out in the next couple of days. And this thing kind of is more suited towards a commentary anyway. And I wanted Larry to hear my thoughts on it, so that way we could discuss it on tomorrow's Tipping Point. Again, with Jimmy Rave, you're going to want to listen to that. And I was going to call the article, I Love You to Death. Who is to blame for Ring of Honor's demise? And make no mistake about it, it is a demise. They find themselves in a position where they are hanging on by their fingernails. And they're having to fight off rumors. Are they selling their tape library? Oh, no, we're not. That's just a rumor. Yeah, but it's not a rumor that they've been trying to sell it for a year. Maybe they're no longer trying to sell it for some reason. But they've been trying to sell that thing. So what does that mean? What does it mean that they're taking 4 months off and then they're going to reimagine? And the early conjecture is, even if they do run again, which is there's no guarantee they're going to, that it's going to be a smattering and a collection, and they're basically going to be like a super indie. To which I asked the question that I asked years ago, must there be a Ring of Honor? Because it certainly doesn't seem like there has to be. And, you know, I saw an article at SI talking about mismanagement from the top. Certainly true. But the other problem that Ring of Honor had, a major one, and it's something that every wrestling promotion needs to listen to, is, you know who loved them to death? Their fucking fan base that kept them on this short leash where they weren't able to expand. They weren't able to try different things. They weren't able to try to get heat in a conventional way because they're we don't do that here. So whatever you think about Jim Cornette, when, you know, they call it Ring of Smoky Honor, Smoky Mountain Wrestling or whatever the fuck. Yeah, but you know what they've needed to do since before 2010 is find a way to fucking stop appealing to the same 300 to 400 people. And they had multiple chances to do it. During the beginning of the Jim Cornette era, they had a chance to do it. Then they had a chance to do it again during Bucks and Cody being there and doing big shit. And they've never been able to do it. And now all their thunder's been taken. Oh, they have like a Japan thing. AEW's doing that, and in even better way. Right? That run that Suzuki had started with AEW. Making sure they had educated people on this guy is fucking important. And he went 14-3, and his losses came almost entirely for AEW. Everywhere else, though, he got to do this tour and this Forbidden Door thing and all the rest of it. And the NWA was part of it, and fucking AEW and Impact. You know who wasn't part of it? Ring of Honor. And they have been left out in the fucking cold, burr cold. And it's just how their fan base wants them. I've been reading all these boards and these Facebook pages where Ring of Honor fans talk, and all they've done is circle jerk themselves to death. And no matter how small the crowds were, and how little attention they garnered, AEW took up half the wrestling news cycle. The WWE has the other half, and nobody else is even in the picture. And if people want to blame AEW for what happened to Ring of Honor, sorry, before AEW, it was even a twinkling in Tony Khan's balls, right? Ring of Honor has grown increasingly less and less relevant. Does this mean they haven't done good work? No, I don't mean any of that. But their fan base, every other fan base of every other fucking wrestling group truly wanted them to succeed and were flexible about the terms, right? ECW fans fought to get them onto pay-per-view because they wanted them to thrive, and because they were like, we really got this cool thing going. If more people were exposed to it, more people would get to see what we see, and then the party would get bigger and ECW would be even bigger, and wouldn't that be cool? That was the attitude, was it not? Ring of Honor fans are in an unhealthy relationship, and have been, with Ring of Honor for a long time. And it goes both ways. That they want them insular. They like the fact that they are unapproachable for a casual wrestling fan. They thrive on that. They think that that's a good thing. They lament when the guys, they're happy for the guys when they sign with a bigger organization, which has, by the way, been every organization outside of Ring of Honor. Let me say that again. When people sign with the fact that they can sign with another group means they're bigger than Ring of Honor. That happened. There's a time where Ring of Honor could make an argument that they were number 2 at certain points. They were certainly the strongest 3. But they haven't been that in a long, long, long time. Jim Cornette and others are fond of saying this phrase, funny don't make money. But that I can prove that that's not true 100 times over. Maybe it isn't the main event. Maybe it isn't the main draw. But a joyless show, which Ring of Honor is, it is a joyless show. That doesn't mean they don't have moments that don't capture the imagination for a second. But overall, it is a joyless show. And has been for a long time. If you can even figure out when it fucking comes on and where. It is joyless. So funny can help make you money. Or at least make your show much more enjoyable. But I see your funny makes no money, and I counter with this clever little pithy rhyme that sums up Ring of Honor better than anything else. Bell to bell, don't sell. People want stories. And it's not to say there are no stories in Ring of Honor, but there's no stories that capture the imagination. There's no stories that their fan base feels inclined to reach out to other people. Fuck, Impact's fan base is much more about getting exposure for Impact, putting out the message that Impact has been doing great shit, just more people need to watch it. More people need to be exposed to it, but it's great. And they're making positive moves. Moving to Vegas is a fucking great move. And Bound for Glory was sold out. Things are moving in a positive direction. We can debate about whether the AEW thing helped them or whatever, but what we can't debate is that since Bound for Glory, they're moving up. And that's great. And in fact, they may benefit from this fucking talent infusion into the fucking marketplace because of Ring of Honor, being done. More than anybody. There's only so many spots at AEW. I don't imagine they'll bring in more than 2 or 3. But who knows? WWE may bring in none. Because the Ring of Honor is the epitome of who they say they don't want to sign anymore. That's a tough spot. It's a tough spot because that fan base has loved them to death. And they have loved that insular fan base to death. For years, they've talked about what can we do to cross over? What can we do to cross over? I'm going to fucking let you in on something. I fucking used to talk to Adam Pearce. We'd bring him in for freaking Sacred Ground every year. And he and I would talk. What do you think about the show? What do you think about this? When he was booking them. And then afterwards, he was just like, I don't know what they're going to do to convert. And I used to send them ideas on their request. How can we cross over? How can we do something that... And it was always with this caveat, but we got to make sure our fan base is okay with it. Well, they're not okay with anything. They love the idea of a pure title. Oh, it's so great. Sure. Bell to bell, don't sell. And their fan base allowed this to happen. And they, being so scared of defying their fan base, allowed this to happen. And it's a fucking shame. Yes, there was a time where Ring of Honor was incredibly influential and did some great fucking in-ring shit and all the rest of it. And they never parlayed that into something bigger. And when Sinclair took it over... It's funny, people were really excited because then Kerry Silkin didn't have to like shoulder all the freaking burden of it. And, you know, they're going to have this television thing and it was going to be, and Sinclair's got money and they're going to do this and they're going to go do that. But let's be honest. What are they supposed to put money into? A bigger entranceway? There's no there. There's no vision there. They haven't changed their booker for fucking years. Maybe it was supposed to be Marty Scurll at one point, and then that fucked up, etc., etc. But, like, when have they felt big time? When's the last time they were in the fucking wrestling news? When Bully Ray grabbed that fucking fan and pulled him backstage to yell at him because he said mean things to his fucking girlfriend? Can you remember a story of note since then? Unless it was somebody getting in trouble like Marty Scurll. No. That is a failure. Now, I don't think it's fair when people are saying, if you look at AEW, that could have been Ring of Honor. There's a million reasons why that's not true, but AEW does have one thing that Ring of Honor doesn't have that has nothing to do with money, and that's a vision. Ring of Honor is such good bell to bell. You know how much good bell to bell wrestling there is? Is there some match that's happened at Ring of Honor in fucking recent memory that's as good as fucking Bryan Danielson against Kenny Omega? No. And fuck you if you want to argue otherwise. It's fake fighting in your underwear, folks. And bell to bell don't sell. And the whole vision of Ring of Honor is antiquated and outdated. And their fan base allowed that to happen. Would not allow them to grow. Would not allow them to move beyond the parameters of, well, but it's really about wrestling action and wrestling. The fuck are they talking about? Yes, they treated COVID the most seriously. And they did everything right. And they paid everybody and all that kind of great, noble shit that has nothing to do with fucking staying in business. You know what would have helped? If they had some kind of way to garner interest during COVID. I don't care if that meant fucking putting a roaming camera in the hands of their fucking talent and going like, find a way to film your thing and we'll cobble it together to do a fucking show. Now they want to reimagine when everything's fucking done. Reimagining should have took place fucking 10 years ago, 5 years ago, at the beginning of COVID. That was an opportunity. AEW took advantage of that opportunity. WWE doesn't have crowds. Ring of Honor doesn't have crowds. Impact doesn't have crowds. Fuck it, we'll find a way. Even if that means these fucking indie guys that we're fucking paying to lose, we're going to have them in the fucking crowd. Just so there's some semblance of a fucking audience. And they were right, and they won. They survived because of it through COVID. WWE eventually had to fork over hundreds of thousands of dollars for that shitty-ass Thunderdome to at least have something. And then Impact just let the ring squeak, squeak, squeak away. I had to listen to that shit for fucking months. They never figured it out. And they fucking paid that price. And now hopefully they can get it back. But Ring of Honor did nothing. No originality, no vision, no creativity. And judging from the their fucking fan base that I read about, their fans loved it. They loved them toiling in absolute obscurity. What the fuck? Talk about loving somebody to death. Yeah, they're mismanaged from the top. But that fucking fan base has kept them small for over a decade now. Oh, we can't do that kind of heat. Oh, we don't do this. Oh, I don't like it. It's too gimmicky. Oh, I don't like... And every story they bought into, the casual wrestling fan could give a fuck about. And they couldn't even bill it as, it's this great live experience. Where's the experience? How many fucking 4-hour shows do you think people are going to watch? Wrestling groups that are around right now, you got to learn from that. Yes, you have to make your fan base happy. But if you ain't growing, then you don't fucking matter. And I know it's a tough time right now, but if your goal isn't to fucking grow, then what the fuck are we doing? Well, Ring of Honor's just retooling, and dumb fucks like Rudy Gonzalez. Oh, it's fine. I didn't see anything where they said they were going to go. Shut the fuck up, Rudy. Shut the fuck up, everybody who thinks that way. Because again, you're just fucking loving them to death. And you think like, oh, I'm not critiquing Ring of Honor. It's going to show that. Yeah, they're going to take 4 months off with nobody under contract, and then they're going to do a show in April. And they're going to have this grand new vision. They've had over a decade to have a fucking grand vision. And they had the fucking TV show on Sinclair Broadcasting. But Sinclair doesn't seem to give that much of a fuck about them. But what's to give a fuck about? Whenever they tour and do live shows. And those shows at Center Stage were boring as fuck. Were they not? Don't lie to yourself. And I get the boy. There was a time where the boys wanted to work Ring of Honor almost as much as they wanted to work at WWE. Ring of Honor in Japan. How many guys that I trained said that? I want Ring of Honor in Japan. Nobody said that for fucking years. Maybe the Japan part, not the Ring of Honor part. Because they recognized Ring of Honor for what it was. And you can have good feelings about Ring of Honor, and you can hold them close to your heart, and they can be your beloved. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But face fucking facts. Nobody fucking dreams of Ring of Honor being their career, especially now. Or in the last 2 years. Because what is that? It's a circle jerk of inside things of the boys going, oh, I'm great and you're great, and we're wrestling each other. Wonderful. You know how I've talked about cool factor before? What's cool about Ring of Honor? Nothing. What's cool about them taking 4 months off and then coming back with some kind of show? And you know, with the epitome of how fucking insular their fan base is this call. I've seen all of these messages like, well, I hope that they just abandon all the storylines and they just put together the best matches possible and show them what Ring of Honor is all about. Yeah, that is what Ring of Honor is all about. A bunch of really well choreographed fake fighting in your underwear that has no emotional resonance to anybody except for the insular small fan base that can go like, oh, but it's really cool because PC, and then they'll take an hour to explain to you why this thing matters. The name of the game is growth. And I asked years ago, must there be a Ring of Honor? And a number of semi-prominent people in the wrestling business and prominent people messaged me and go like, you just don't understand. I don't get what? That they're appealing to all the fucking neckbeards? That I can look out in their fucking crowd of increasingly dwindling numbers before COVID and see that it was nothing but fucking neckbeards? And that their shows on paper bored me to death, much less if I had to watch it? Cool. The pure title. Yeah, it's a great gimmick, I guess, but it's a gimmick that strips away anything potentially fun and interesting about wrestling except for who's got the best cravat. Fuck you. That fan base loved Ring of Honor to death. And Ring of Honor loved that fucking limiting fan base to death. That's the truth. The question is, what lessons are you going to learn? And that goes for the boys. That goes for promotions. That goes for fans. When creativity dies, entertainment venues die with them. I'll leave you with this last thought. You know how combative and tribal wrestling fans, people in general, but wrestling fans in particular have become? They didn't become that way. You know where that was born? Ring of fucking Honor. The foodie hipster snobs of the wrestling world, for whom everything else was not good enough, except for their little thing that most people didn't want to watch. And they were proud of that fact. The defend at all costs and against all reason mentality of the wrestling fan that is now prevalent throughout all of wrestling started at Ring of Honor. There's a lot of for Ring of Honor to be proud of. But you know what most of that pride comes from? Good shit that was done more than 10 years ago, and guys that cut their teeth there that went on to do greater things in other leagues. And the second Ring of Honor embraced this thing of we're a stepping stone to something else and said that publicly, they were fucking done. Because what that told me is they had no vision for themselves. Because they realized they were always going to be beholden to that dwindling, unforgiving, tribalistic fan base that loved them to death. This has been Full Disclosure.